It struck him most of all that he looked frightened. He ought to do something about that, but he couldn't. He was too frightened. He was a fugitive on the run from his birth mother Evrel, the Avim of the Gelak Empire. If she caught him, she would force him to tell her where he had taken the infant called the Throne Prince, who was also his helpless infant half-brother. He couldn't get caught. That was simple. Nothing else was. Amel stood before a stained sink in a rented room, staring at his face in a mirror of polished metal. Fumes drifted up to his sensitive nose from the cloth sitting on the side of the sink, dampened with acid near its center. He had no idea how much to use or how badly it would harm him. All he knew was that it wouldn't be permanent. It would heal, because he was a highborn and fully regenerative. Later he would have to do it again to disguise his features. It was better not to think about that part, he decided. But what if it burned him too badly, or it got infected? Mira, the commoner girl that he grew up with until he was 10, would expect him to think about infection. He had met her again in Evrel's household. She studied Sevolite medicine, and he could almost imagine her standing beside the sink, watching him, wearing the tight, impatient frown she used when she thought he was being overly dramatic, her arms folded across her narrow chest. "And who do you think is going to look after you while you are writhing on the floor, rubbing grime into open wounds?" he imagined her asking. "What if you get it into your eyes and are blinded?" Amel closed his eyes in a long blink and looked at his face in the mirror again. His skin was as white as the whites of his eyes, as if the blood had drained away in anticipation of the acid he meant to disfigure himself with. His lips were a pastel pink and felt dry. He wet them with his tongue, then blinked long black lashes, veiling and revealing crystal-gray eyes. His hair was black like his eyebrows. His face was arrestingly beautiful. Even he could see that, although it gave him a peculiar sense of wrongness to appreciate its aesthetics. He frowned at himself, getting irritated. Was it vanity that made him hesitate? No, he could do with a few months of ugliness. Needed it desperately. It was going to hurt, though, for a long time. He eyed the cloth again, where the acid was quietly eating its way into the threads and sending up faint whiffs of chemical potency. "I've got to do it. I've got to, Amel told himself. But he stayed as he was, frozen.